Today, our guest on Magic for Life is Spencer Mecham. Spencer is a full-time affiliate marketer and a course creator. He loves teaching and using YouTube as his preferred method to get his message across. I'm excited to share his story with you, so let's cue the intro and get right in. I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm excited you joined me today because today we have Spencer Mecham. He is amazing. If you don't know him, holy cow, I don't know where you've been on YouTube for all your life. I don't know how you missed him. So thank you so much for joining us today, Spencer. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited.
It's really great because I'm a big fan. I was telling you before we got on, we chatted a little bit, and I've been watching your YouTube channel for ages. I mean, I think we subscribed ages ago, but like you are always there to make it work for us in our ClickFunnels stuff, but in so many other things too. Like your videos are awesome. I love your demeanor. I love the way you present your videos. Holy cow, you are amazing, and we sure appreciate you.
Oh, that is awesome to hear. Sometimes we need inspiration to keep pumping out those videos, so thank you.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, I wanted to kind of get in, and we're going to let our audience know all about you along the way. And so I figured we'd start with kind of your backstory, how you got into affiliate marketing, how you got into YouTubing, and all the stuff that you're doing, because you're really doing a ton of things. So how did this whole journey begin?
Yeah, you're right. I'm doing a ton of things right now. Beginning of the year, I sat down and looked and was like, holy cow, there's a lot of fires burning right now. But that's not how it started. And it's funny when I go back and look at like my journey, a lot of it's just kind of like happenstance and accidents and like lucky thing, or not lucky things, but being in the right place, right, and having something happen that changed my trajectory. And so affiliate marketing wasn't really where I started when I came to making money online. I actually started thinking that I was going to be like an amazing stock trader, broker guy, at home with his like 5 monitors, rocking that world. Nice. And as with 95% of people that start that, I just lost money, and wasn't good at it. And but getting into the stock world is what brought me into just a different world. It changed my mindset from 9-to-5 employee to, hey, there's an alternative option here. And so like I'll be forever grateful for losing that money because of the change in mindset that came with it. And so I was still in college when I was kind of tinkering around with stocks, tinkering around with real estate, doing some like weird SEO stuff, kind of just playing around with that whole world. And none of it worked out, kind of just passively learning stuff. And then I got a job after college. And the job was at an SEO agency making actually really close to where you're at right now, but making $30,000 a year at an SEO agency. I'm the pawn at the bottom that's just like pumping out content for clients and stuff. And anyway, I had a coworker come and he was one step above me in the ladder, and he showed me this website one day, and he's like, hey, check out this website I built. It's been I've been doing it for about 2 years, and I look at it and it's like the ugliest website you'll ever see. Like to this day, I don't think I've seen a website that looked as bad as this guy's website did. And I was like, thumbs down. And then he was like, yeah, it makes me about 5 to 10 grand a month, reviewing vacuum cleaners. It's all he did. He made vacuum cleaner reviews, so a niche website. And then, I was like, what? That's insane. And that was the affiliate marketing light bulb. Like, if this guy can do it with that, I can figure this out, and as with anything, it definitely was not that easy. I spent the first year building a site that was 10 times better looking than his and made 1/100th as much money. But a lot of learning there, and that's what got me into this world. And And then you talked about YouTube, right? Like how did I get onto YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, I was terrible at blogging and made no money in a year of blogging. And so, but this is where kind of the funny part comes in is I decided to kind of try other ways of affiliate marketing. You know, in this year, I've learned a lot. And so I'm like, I'm going to try Instagram instead. Everyone's making money just, you know, doing stuff on Instagram. So I start making these Instagram posts, and someone in this YouTube video is like, hey, you've got to capture email addresses. You need to make these lead magnets. And I was like, okay, I got to capture emails. That makes sense. And so I'm like, I've got to make something. And so I make a couple of videos that I'm going to use to kind of offer as free bait to my Instagram followers, who I haven't figured out how to make money off of yet anyway. But so I offer this, I make these 3 videos. They're like little stock market trainings on how to kind of get started investing. And I upload them to YouTube because that's the only free place you can upload videos, right? And it blew up. Like literally one of those 3 videos got 400,000 views. It ranked on Google, it ranked on YouTube, it ranked for like every stock market keyword in existence at the time. And I just watched it happen, and I was like, I just spent, you know, a year trying to blog. I failed. I spent 6 months trying to like Instagram. I failed. And then I threw a YouTube on video on YouTube without any real purpose behind it. And it blew up. And that was when I was like, okay, I'm going to go bigger on this platform.
That's amazing. And it just, and it was something that you were going to ultimately, now, you know, I guess hindsight, that you're not doing with the stock stuff. Right?
Yeah.
But, like, did you like research keywords or anything? Or you just literally?
Yeah, it was. So it was a 3-video series. And the first video was like how to get started with stocks. And then the second video was like the best broker, I think. And just kind of like basic stuff like that. So I uploaded it to YouTube, and I did do really basic SEO. I had a title and a description. And I think that's it, like the title and description. And it wasn't a great video. It was my first time ever filming a video. My face wasn't on there. It was just like my screen. I just recorded me talking into my MacBook microphone. Right. And I look at it today and look at that video. I'm like, why did YouTube like it so much? And it was it was the simplest video out there for a beginner to kind of figure out how the stock market functioned. And that wasn't necessarily my goal. And, but that's when I kind of realized, oh, I'm pretty good at simplifying hard concepts, right? Like there's a reason this video did well. Right. And it's because I took a complicated concept and made it really easy, and I did it quickly. And so that's when I was like, oh, I actually do have some skill set in YouTube, you know, more than I do in blogging and Instagram, clearly.
Right. Wow. It's amazing. And I hear that so often, like with people that have learned to utilize YouTube. It's like, you know, sometimes you see somebody that's been posting for like 3 years, and then they make one video and then their channel blows up because they finally got something that managed to hit. What would you say to somebody that's in that position? I mean, now that you've got so much success on YouTube and you found, you know, a niche, so to speak, like what about those people that have been posting for years and they still haven't gotten that one video to hit? What do you think is the deal?
If they've been doing it for a few years, then I would say there's probably something on their end that they need to be looking at. If you've been doing it for 6 months, it's quite possible you just haven't hit yet, right? Like that happens with lots of channels. If you've been doing it for a few years, I would say your issue is watch time or your thumbnails. You're going to go back and look at those and figure out what the videos that are like yours but are doing way better than yours, what are they doing with their thumbnails, and how are they extending watch time? And you'll go watch their videos and you'll start to see these little things they do, like, oh, like, you know, their intro, they kind of use these hooks and things, and they keep people watching for the first 2 minutes, just naturally, right? Like you've got to watch because you've got to figure out what that hook in the beginning, when it's gonna, you know, when you're gonna show us that hook. And so go back and you just need to look what other people are doing, because those 2 things, if you get a good thumbnail that's getting high click-through rate and a good watch time, like all the other stuff with YouTube's algorithm isn't gonna matter, and you'll figure out within probably 5-10 videos of watching your competitors what they're doing differently than you in both thumbnail and video.
Sure. So you'd kind of gone for a little bit into that kind of corporate route almost, and it had kind of started you on that path where you were kind of the grunt, right? But was it scary to make that move and say, okay, I'm going to go do this instead of doing the other thing? Like how did you make that transition?
Yeah, it was scary. And because it was scary, I stayed for a long time when I probably shouldn't have. Like my business was blowing up and I was still like, no, I can't quit. Cause we had our first child somewhere in there, our first baby, you know, and I was like, I can't quit now, like health insurance. And my wife's quit her job because she's taking care of this brand new newborn. And I was like, I can't, it just made me really nervous. But, and so, you know, that first video blew up. I started to kind of get into the ClickFunnels world, had some more videos blow up. I won the ClickFunnels dream car,
Yeah.
still at my job. So I've got 100 users. I'm making $5 to $7 grand a month from ClickFunnels, right? Still just working my job because I'm just too scared to break away. So that was a weakness of mine. You know, I could have blown up a lot faster. And I waited till I think we had probably like $40,000 to $50,000 sitting in the bank, just sitting because I was bringing in money and I didn't have time to use it in the business really. And I was too nervous. Anyway, so we finally got there and I was like, okay, I can, you know, if I can't figure out something in a year of straight 40-hour work weeks, maybe I should just go back to the job anyway. So I quit, a year or 2 years after I went into the corporate world.
Wow. That's such a crazy story. But I mean, it's like, I think it's like what most entrepreneurs that are jumping in and starting off and going, I think I can do this. They're looking at that going, okay, all right, I can do that too. You know, I can maybe do that. You know, this is your story is just so cool because there's so many entrepreneurs that kind of have this like dream, right? They're looking at it going, okay, I want to work for myself and I want to just do something that I love to do. Like, did you find in the beginning that you were thinking to yourself, gosh, I really love to do this? Or were you just kind of just trying to make something work? Like, what did you do to get through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the very beginning, it was just kind of like side hustle money. Like I was like, man, I'm making $30,000 a year. My wife's about to quit her job, you know, and have a baby. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to buy anything I want ever again. You know? Like every penny is going to go to diapers and stuff. And
Right.
so it kind of like stressed me out. Like, wow, we're going to be living, you know, in college, me and my wife had both lived super frugally and stuff like that. And so we never really had to think about money. Like we worked, both of us worked summer jobs all summer, and then we kind of just live off it for the rest of the year. So the idea of kind of like being in this month to month situation just stressed me out so much. Like thinking like, oh, what if we have a bad month? What if we have an emergency, you know, and we're in this month to month zone, and it just terrified me. And so that was kind of when I was like, I got to start just getting an extra $1,000 a month so we can build up a good savings. We can have kind of some kind of backbone, I guess, if anything goes wrong. And so, yeah, I mean, I did all kinds of weird little projects in the beginning. Like I have a PR degree, or basically like a journalism degree. So I did a lot of just writing for people on their blogs, you know, getting 50 to $100 an article, a lot of like guest posting and backlinking, little client stuff, build people little websites as I learned stuff. So a lot of that kind of just going on to get, you know, a couple hundred, maybe $1,000 a month in the beginning.
Wow. That seems like a necessary path, right? For you to gain all the skill sets that you needed. And
yeah. And I think that's really important. Is a lot of people are like, I just want to dive into it. And it's like, you learn a ton when you take on clients. And I hate clients now. I'm like, so glad I don't have any clients, but you learn so much when you take on 5 clients that all want you to start blogging, right? And some of these guys, they've been blogging for 10 years. And so they're giving you directions and stuff. And you write this article for them and they come back to you and say, oh no, let's tweak this and this and this because of this. And you're like, oh, okay. And so you learn a ton being the pawn under people that are really smart. And so I would definitely say everyone take that route for a year, work underneath somebody that's doing what you would love to do in 5 years, and you'll learn crazy stuff.
do you remember feeling like you were having everything not work and just kind of thinking to yourself, like, how in the world is this going to even come together? Like, do you remember having a time where that was the case, or was it always just sort of one thing to the next?
So in the beginning, when it was just kind of like, you know, make some side hustle money, it wasn't stressful. It was like, oh, I didn't make any money this month. That's fine. Once it was kind of like that transition of like, okay, I really want to do this. You know, I really want this to be my life and not this 9 to 5 that I'm doing. Then it did feel that way, especially with the blog. Like I can remember a specific instance, maybe 10 to 12 months into that blog. And I've been working for 12 months on like one article that I just really wanted to rank. It was for, and the keyword was like the best stock market books. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna own this. I'm gonna get this. It was like spot 10, and I was like guest posting. And if you're familiar with the blogging world, I was just doing all kinds of stuff to build backlinks. And I finally got to spot 1 after like 12 months. And I was like, yes, I did it. Like I'm at spot 1. And then the next month rolled in and I made like $11. It was like I sold 30 books, but you make 10 to 50 cents a book.
Yeah.
And so I can remember that like just like crashing feeling of like, oh, you worked for a year at it and you're making $11 a month now. Like, this isn't going to work. And just the realization that I kind of was on the wrong path.
Yeah.
And that was really, really hard for me. That like moment. That's when I switched over to Instagram and stuff. I was like, blogging sucks. I hate this.
Yeah. Well, it's I have to remember to keep asking you the questions about some of the affiliate stuff that you've found success with and gotten into now, because I've watched you so much that it's like, oh wait, I have to ask him about that, because it's you're amazing at it, and you teach about it, and you help people learn about it, and you use it. And so it's not like you're just teaching about it and not doing it. You're actually doing it. I see a lot of people teaching about affiliate marketing, and then you look back and they're not doing any of it. Like, well, so how do you know exactly?
I'm posting on Facebook, like in another group, like, hey, does anyone know?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So tell me a little bit about what the realization was with affiliate marketing as opposed to what you were doing, and how you made that transition.
Yeah, so that was with the guy's blog. The vacuum blog was my mental transition into affiliate marketing. Yeah. And then the movement to YouTube came when I kind of had that random success on YouTube. But even at this point, I still had no financial success. So I've been pumping along, and I saw, this video blew up. I didn't have monetization set on there. I had no like affiliate links, no nothing. It was just a video, and it blew up, and that was like cool, but it made $50 or nothing. And so like another like but so that's when I said, okay, I'm going to go on this YouTube thing. I now know that it's possible. I know that I kind of have a framework for how this can work. And so it was like 3 videos in. I did a bunch of that's when I started to really research and take YouTube seriously. And I saw that, the stock market's been around for a while. There's a ton of people going for, the stock market niche. This was like in the infancy of the crypto niche though, like early 2017. So not infancy, but right before the crypto kind of blew up everywhere, where like the average guy knows about it. And so I was like, I'm gonna make a couple videos about like how to buy Bitcoin. I made a video on how to buy stocks, and that one seems to do well. So I'm gonna do how to buy Bitcoin, and made that video with a couple others that didn't do well, but made that one. And that was, so that video was made in September of 2017, I think. And if you remember 2017, anyone that looks at a Bitcoin graph can see like that humongous spike in about October, November of 17.
Yeah.
And that just correlated right with my video being launched and taking the #1 spot, how to buy Bitcoin. So every one of those 50,000 people over Christmas break that year that Googled, how do I buy Bitcoin? Because everyone's talking about it, was watching my video. This time I had a plan. I had an affiliate link. And I made, it was like a $50,000 3 month thing that just blew up. And that was like my first, like, okay, I finally had something that I planned from the beginning, purposely did it, and it worked, and I made money.
And I made money.
I made money at the end. Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst. You build 10 funnels and none of them are making any money, and you're like, I am doing what they said, but it's not working.
I thought I was one funnel away.
Yeah, one funnel away. Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah, no, that's so true. So it seems as though you're, and I'm saying this partially from your videos and in chatting with you today, you're a pretty positive guy, and you seem to have a pretty positive outlook on life and how you're doing. And I remember watching one video where you're like, I had a couple of people comment that I needed to be more exciting. And I was like, I like you just like you are. Don't listen to them. But, I just love that element of it. But you seem to have a really great focus. So what kind of things do you feel like you focus on that keep you positive and keep you able to be in that good space on a regular basis?
Yeah, and this is kind of a hard question for me, because I do feel like that's one of the few things that I kind of was born, like, that's a very natural thing to me, is more of an optimistic outlook at life. And you've probably heard me say the phrase, take life by the horns. That I put that at the bottom of all my emails. And that's a phrase I came across in high school. And he actually said, take the bull by the horns, I think. And I switched it to take life by the horns.
Yeah.
But the idea is, like, when it was taught to me in high school, I was in the high school drumline, is just, hey, it's your life. You own it. No one else is going to pick you up and make sure that you succeed in life. And so it's your life. Take it by the horns and take what you want from life. Like, make the life that you want happen. And I love that phrase. And it's kind of stuck with me throughout, like, this whole time, 10, 15 years past high school. That's the phrase that I kind of, if you had a catchphrase for my business, it would be take life by the horns.
Yeah.
Because I really believe that whatever you want in life, you can have. And it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there, like, you can get there. And so I don't know if that helps other people get there. But
yeah, sure. No, I mean, it's great, because I think seeing and hearing other entrepreneurs that are finding success, and hearing what they're thinking about makes a huge difference. And that kind of leads me to the next question, which is, if I believe that the quality of our life is the quality of our communication, and you can hear that in kind of how you're talking. And it's not just, I think, about communication to other people, it's about how we communicate internally as well. So what kind of things do you find yourself saying to yourself? I know that's kind of a weird question, right? But what kind of things do you find yourself saying to yourself, not necessarily outwardly or communicating to other people, that helps you keep going? And when things are hard, and you have to push through.
yeah, I mean, I think one big thing is motivations. When I look at my own motivations and like, why am I doing this? And I found, like, when my first motivation was the dream car for the ClickFunnels, right? And when I achieved that, I have an email that I wrote about this a couple months ago, and it was the most high-low thing, like high for like 3 days. And then I was just back to driving in my car. Like, I was just driving a car every day, it didn't change my life at all, really. I just had a nicer car that I was inside and couldn't even see when I was driving. It just didn't feel like anyway, it was a really bummer to me, I guess. And I've kind of learned since then, like, there are certain things in my life that I can control. Like, it doesn't really matter what they are. And that's like things like relationships with my family and stuff like that, that it doesn't matter if everything else in my life isn't going well, but as long as it's going, like, I can maintain a good relationship with my wife and my kids, no matter what. Like, there is no other external force that can affect that. Right. And so I guess focusing on things that I have control over, and that focus I think I'm kind of going on a tangent back to your first question. But I do think that's a lot of the way my mind thinks, and it's come to think that way, is, hey, focus on the things that you can control, make that your really the things that make you happy and your goals and stuff. And then it doesn't really matter what else is happening externally, because the things that really make you happy and that you really want, you can have no matter what.
That kind of leads perfectly to the next thing I was going to ask you. You're talking about control, and it seems as though, especially in the current light of our world, with all the pandemic stuff and everything going on, it seems as though worry and fear are huge for a lot of people. And I think even maybe a little bit more so for entrepreneurs who, we're trying to look at how we're going to make it all work. So how have you learned to control and manage worry and fear when it comes to business?
So a lot of it is eliminating stuff that you can't control. And so I remember in the beginning, it was like April when the pandemic hit, and we had just moved into our new house that we just built. And, with certain income estimations in our head, and suddenly pandemic hit, and it's like, oh, what if this doesn't work? Right. All these businesses were canceling things, and like affiliate commissions were starting to get affected. And I was like, holy cow, if this pandemic goes for 3 months, we're going to be in trouble. And, but I have learned over and this year's helped me a lot, I think, in that same thing. Like, what can I control? I can't control what's going on in Washington, D.C., and I can't control that. So don't spend 5 hours a day reading up every news article on like what's happening with Trump and what's happening with this guy, like, don't be uninformed. But I think a lot of us, and I had to delete Facebook, like, which is something I've never had to do. Like, I'm usually pretty good at managing that, but especially like during the election night and during the what was it, on the 6th, the thing that just happened recently, you know,
Right.
on January 6th, it was like, I suddenly found myself just watching it, you know, watching the news and watching, like Googling all these articles, and it didn't result in a healthy mind for me anymore, because it left me with all these fears. And I'll give one more thing. So, and then I was in my local church on Sunday, and a guy got up and he said, he was a physicist, I don't know, not a psychologist, some kind of doctor with brains, but not a psychologist.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, studies have shown that 95% of the things that people stress out about don't ever come to happen. And so 95% of us are stressing, or 95% of our stresses are needless stresses that won't ever come to pass. And I was like, oh God, that's me. You know, like that's what I've been like lately, is just like all these things that, one, probably won't come to pass. And two, it doesn't matter if they did come to pass, because I'm not going to be able to, you know, me focusing for 3 hours on being informed about it's not going to change it. And so I would say just don't let your brain go into those side holes and stuff, you know, like keep a close eye on what's giving you those fears and stuff, and eliminate when you need to.
I know that just having followed you for a while, I know you'll periodically do videos on affiliate programs that are out there that people could take advantage of and get involved in and use to promote. How do you go through vetting what affiliate programs you're going to promote? And I mean, obviously you're pretty well established with your affiliate stuff right now. And how do you decide what you're going to take on and what you're not going to take on?
Yeah, and that's a good question, because I probably, like, we're at the point now where we get 5 to 10 emails a day, like, hey, you should promote my product, you know. And like the one I just read this morning was like patriotic t-shirts, you know. And I'm like, why do you think that I would be the, you know, like, what would make me good for that? Like my audience. Anyway, and some people are just desperately seeking anybody, you know. So I usually say it's the connection to audience, and it's all about my audience and the person or the person doing or the owner of the company that I want to promote.
Right.
So as far as my audience, 95% of the people the reach outs that I get, they have nothing to do with what my audience would want, or they're kind of vaguely brushing up against it, you know, like,
Right.
oh, your audience wants this, which is kind of like this, so they want this. And so like I've kind of learned, if it doesn't 100% correlate, it doesn't perfectly align with what my audience's goals are, I won't even have a look at it. Now, if it does align with that, then I'll move in and look at the person creating the product. And it's pretty easy to see, one, have they had past successes, right? Do they know what they're doing? Like, do they know how to make a funnel that I'm not going to send 10,000 people to and get one sale, you know, will just happen. And then it's a bummer.
Yeah.
So one, do they know what they're doing on that front? And then two, you know, is their reputation worth tying into my reputation? And if both of those match up, then I'll usually do at least some form of promotion.
That's cool. That's cool. And I think that helps a lot, because as I think in the beginning with a lot of affiliate entrepreneurs, they're just like, I'll just try to promote everything. And you're like,
it makes money, I'm in.
yeah. And I'm like, but yeah, okay. But your audience loves you, and you can see that, and you can tell through the comments, and you can tell how they talk about you, and how they engage with you. And I think that has to have a big impact on the success that you've had with affiliate stuff, right?
Yeah, and that actually really helps me when I see that engagement, you know, and I see these comments that are really upbeat, and it helps me personalize my audience and keep me from promoting something that, say, would just be a good money maker and not a good fit for them. Because I start to see all these people, you know, that are like genuinely trying and really look up to what you're saying, and they'll make comments like, oh, I'm buying it because you recommended it. I don't even know what it is yet, but you recommend it, so I'm buying it. And the comments like that, like, kind of put this weight on your shoulders, right? And make it so, like, I don't promote a lot anymore, because I really am picky about what my name gets attached to, because I've got these guys that just buy it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true. And we'll talk about it in a little bit, but you did a promotion the other day, and for OFA, and I was like, I'm in. You said, get it. All right. I've gone to OFA 3 or 4 times, but sure. Yeah, I'm in. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, we'll tell everybody about it in a second, but yeah, I mean, it's so true though. I mean, you've gained that reputation with your audience, and we all trust you, and we know that when we need to find something, we've gone to you so many times to just figure out and learn how to do the thing that was falling apart for us, when we needed the help the most. So I want to jump into our lightning round where we talk about emotions. So you got this.
I'm in. Let's do it.
All right. So super easy. Basically, I'll give you a category, and I'll ask what your go-to emotion is when things are going well, and your limiting emotion when things are going poorly. So we'll start with just business in general. When things are going well, what's your go-to emotion?
Excited.
Okay. And when
Hyper.
Hyper. Okay. And when things are going poorly, what's your limiting emotion?
Can we clarify what do you mean by limiting emotion?
The thing that might be holding you back in that situation when things aren't going well.
Okay. Paralysis.
Oh, yeah. So true. In partnerships, what's your go-to emotion when things are going well?
In partnerships. Yeah. I feel like, oh man. Yeah, I feel, what's the word? I have the word in my head, but I can't think of the word. This sense of like, oh, I did right by somebody. You know, I have this partner and I did right by them. What's the word for that?
Right. Like almost like proud or like
Proud. Yeah, I feel proud.
Yeah. Cool. And in partnerships, when things aren't going well, what's the limiting emotion?
Escape. Get me out of here. Run. Flight.
Run away. Yeah. And with coaching, you are a great coach. Like I love listening to when your trainings and stuff. But when you're working with people, what's your go-to emotion when things are going well?
Motivated, really motivated.
Yeah. And when things are going poorly when you're coaching people, what's the limiting emotion?
Same thing. I have a flight tendency, like drop and run, just abandon.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm sure through the years, you've gotten coaching and worked with coaches. So when you're the one being coached, what's your go-to emotion when things are going well?
When I'm the one being coached. Yeah, that same, just super motivated, like hyper focused and motivated.
Nice. And when things aren't going well, when you're being coached, what's the limiting belief?
It's the coach's fault.
Yeah.
Like a negative emotion towards the coach.
Yeah. Okay. And relationships, or your relationship, what's the go-to emotion when things are going well?
Giddy. I'm always really, really just giddy when things are going well.
Nice. And when things are going poorly, what's the limiting emotion?
Emotion. Fear, like fear of failure, fear of this can't last, things like that.
Okay. And kids, how many do you have now?
2.
And how old are they?
A 3 and a 1.
Oh my goodness. They're all over. The 1-year-old's starting to walk already.
Starting to walk, starting to break things, bite people, all that stuff.
Nice. All right. So what's your go-to emotion when things are going well?
With kids, it's like a sense of peace, kind of just this like, okay, we're on the right track. Yeah, peaceful feeling.
Cool. And limiting emotion when things are going poorly?
Is with kids, there's almost this like half anger there. So that's the only time I feel this kind of like anger I have to hold back.
Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing all of those. That's the last category. I find it so important that with so many things out there to talk to entrepreneurs about skill sets and about mechanics and about how to do things, one of the things that I feel like in our journey as entrepreneurs is that we're kind of alone. It seems like it's like we're doing this and we've got to figure it out. We're gonna kind of go alone, and I find it helpful for our entrepreneurs to know that other entrepreneurs that are successful are still feeling a lot of the same things we're all feeling, and it's great to be able to just kind of hear it. So I appreciate you being candid and authentic in sharing that with us.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, just these last 2 weeks have been this overwhelmed feeling. I kind of told you I looked at my business and I made it as a joke, but it was mentally very overwhelming to look out there, and you've got employees and things, and you've got all these different places you're putting out content, and for a minute, you kind of feel this crushing feeling of I can't keep up, I can't do all this. What if this doesn't work out? I'm gonna have to fire all these employees, and everyone's gonna be so disappointed, and people are gonna say like they told me so, and so I still feel that all the time, that sense of like I don't know what my next steps are, and this is all getting too big for me. So
yeah, I feel like that's like more normal for us entrepreneurs than maybe others want to like let in on. It just is such a looming thing, right? We want to do well by everybody, and we want to make it a win-win for everybody, and we want to make it all work out, and we still have to go through the trials and the tribulations that come with running a business.
Yeah, and you start to realize that I think I'm at the point now where I'm realizing like that doesn't end. The CEO of a 500 employee software company, he's having those days where it feels like everything's crumbling down, and so that's life for that, especially as an entrepreneur.
Well, I'd love for you to tell everybody what you're up to, how they can find you, the type of, we've been alluding to the type of videos and things that you do, but like, tell us all about you and tell us about the things that people can go find of you, how they can get connected, and what you're up to.
Yeah, so my website's a good hub to see all that. So buildapreneur.com/free is where you can get I have free email marketing trainings, free funnel trainings, things that you've probably seen. And then we're in the middle of launching a WordPress plugin. It's going to be a software, if you're an affiliate marketer, that will drastically help you. The goal of it is to help you make more money, stress less, and have better access to data. And so that's kind of like a soft launch right now that you can get for the next day or two. If you go to the homepage of my website, you'll see that's the first thing we talk about, obviously. And then if you're like all in, like I've got to learn from this guy, then I do have paid trainings as well. So paid trainings, paid software, and then a lot of free trainings that you can just get started with to make your first couple bucks or get your first system set up.
Cool. And we can find all that through your website. We'll put the website in the description. Of course, you can find him on YouTube, and you should go like and subscribe to his channel on YouTube because that always helps. But I'm sure they can find you on Instagram and all those other places.
Everyone but Instagram, actually. I don't like Instagram.
Oh, really?
I've hated Instagram since I failed at it, and I've never gone back to it.
I don't blame you. I don't know how Russell does it every day. I'm like, my partner keeps telling me that I should get more involved with Instagram. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try.
I don't know. I mean, I'm on TikTok. You'd think I'd be on Instagram, but I have this block. I just don't like Instagram.
That's awesome. Well, I sure appreciate you taking the time. I know you're super busy, and I know that you got lots on your plate, but we are very, very honored and appreciative that you'd spend the time with us today. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
See you, Michael.
Hey, lifers, don't forget to get your free copy of the Every Minute book. You can find it at everyminutebook.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.